Welcome back to the DreamHack Open November. My name is Frankie Ward, and I have got some important information to divulge to you right now, because the DreamHack Open events are part of the ESL Pro Tour. So we're going to take a look at the road to Katowice, because that's the next marquee event in the Pro Tour, the other one being Cologne. And as you can see at the moment, there are 6 European teams in the running for direct invites to the event. But you know what? We've got some more events before that happens, namely DreamHack Masters Winter and of course this event. So things may change in that top 6, and the 3 other top teams from Europe, 7, 8 and 9 also will get a shot at the play-ins if they maintain those positions. But I want to draw your attention to the second column, because you can see Apex currently number 18 with 188 points, and we've also got Spirit at number 13. So actually Spirit, potentially, they have a shot at least getting a play-in spot, especially if they do well at this event and then DreamHack Masters Winter as well. And it's not just Europe as well, we have America and the other regions as well on the Pro Tour. So if you're in Evil Geniuses, currently battling out with Team Liquid for those direct invite spots, but Liquid and Chaos also sat in the play-in spots at the moment, and they're pretty comfortable in those positions. Whoever wins DreamHack Open, I should say, November, they're going to take 100 points. It goes all the way down to 6th place gets 20 points, and then unfortunately 7th and 8th, so the teams that we lose today, they won't get any points. But really it's all about the Pro Tour points for Apex and Spirit. Those are the 2 teams with skin in the ESL Pro Tour game. And you can see, of course, we've got 8 DreamHack Open events to be announced for next year, but you can check out the calendar for our Masters level events there. It's very exciting, obviously. Hopefully the world is going to return to what we've recognise it as soon. We don't know where those teams are going to be playing, if they're going to be playing from home yet or not, but fingers crossed. But what I do know right now is I've got my analysts joining me once again. We've got Blair and Vu. Blair, you're going to be kind of a bit weirded out by the idea of doing events in the outside world again?
Yeah, I'm kind of like used to being in my room. Haven't stepped out in like past 6 months, so yeah, I'm kind of scared of stepping outside right now.
Vu, hopefully we won't terrify you by the end of this event of coming and joining us in person at one in the future, because it'd be nice to meet you in the flesh.
I'm already terrified. Yeah, I'm very scared of meeting Frankie and having her, say mean things. She's very scary.
I am part arachnid, so I will give your arms a wide berth, because over here you've got some pretty ferocious smackdowns. I'm not going to look up the video of you killing a spider. Instead, what we're going to do is take a look at the bracket for Group B, because this is going to be happening with Yumi and Tea Time over on the B stream today. So Namiga versus Kova first, followed by Gambit versus Illumina. So do open a new tab and check out our B stream to keep tabs on that one, pardon the pun. And we're also going to take a look at Group A, because we are about to have our opening matchup. It is going to be Spirit versus flowskola, and then our second best of 3 of the day on the A stream is going to be Apex versus AGF. And I think we're going to be ready for this first matchup very soon. So what I'm hoping is we can actually get straight into talking about the map pool. Because Vu, you've been doing your research, and actually we don't even know if flowskola, sorry, I'm not used to saying the name, flowskola have a map pool.
I don't know if they know what their map pool is. I mean, when it came to the qualifier, they were banning Vertigo, and then they didn't ban it. But not only did they not ban it, they picked it. It gets a little bit odd, so it's rough to see what it might be. I mean, we can have a better idea that probably Spirit's going to ban Vertigo, and I would guess we end up on something like Dust 2, Overpass, Mirage. Those are the maps we're probably looking forward to.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Spirit just went with what they're most comfortable with. Train should be a pick coming in here, if I'm not very much mistaken. flowskola, they like their Dust 2 and their Nuke, but okay, that is out of the left field. I'm not sure why Spirit picked Nuke here. It's a map who flowskola do like to play, but then again, the opposition they've played Nuke against is nowhere close to the level of a team like Team Spirit. So maybe it's a statement of purpose here from Team Spirit. Like, we're going to pick a map which you guys like. We're still going to beat you on it.
Can I just jump in here? flowskola picking Mirage? Did they not watch earlier this week when Spirit, yes, they lost against Virtus Pro, but they were absolutely dominant on Mirage. I disbalanced. There was no shutting him down, Vu.
I mean, when it comes to teams like this, I think they're just going off of not what is Spirit bad at? It's just, what are we good at? And they're pretty good on Mirage. They've got an undefeated record on it over 3 games. I mean, it's not too many, but they're pretty good at Mirage. They're just hoping that they can run over Spirit with some sick aim, which is going to be rough, given that's very CIS kind of, it's a CIS thing to run people over with aim. I'm sure Spirit's used to it, but we'll see how it works.
Listen, 100% win rate, you got to give it to flowskola.
You're saying they're going to take this first map.
No, I'm not saying that at all. Firstly, can we appreciate that logo? We thought it was a potato with like a rainbow-colored flag, but Frankie thought it was something else, right?
Well, I was originally saying nipple, and that is a legitimate body part. It's not rude. Own the nipple, free it. Just don't get it out on camera. But maybe
it's a very happy nipple as well.
Yeah, I think maybe it's more of a belly button, or just a full belly, because you've got like two eyes and a.
Yeah.
I think it's
a smiley face. I think it might just be a smiley face.
Yes.
I think we might be going a little bit too far here. I think
we're logical here.
We might be going a bit too far here, you know?
Guys, this is Counter-Strike. It's not about logic, but it is right now about Magix, the youngest player on Team Spirit. Let's find out what he had to say about the DreamHack Open.
May have carried, but they're getting the kill, so who cares if the reinforcements are here? Magix, good shot.
We are feeling confident going into this tournament, and due to us going as one of the favorites in this tournament, our expectation is to win. It might be great warm-up tournament before DreamHack Masters. Like if they will take a good run on this one, we can continue snowballing through the matches and continue winning on DreamHack Masters after this one. It would be a great weekend for us, and I can wish the good luck for all of our opponents.
He's wishing them good luck, but he's also feeling incredibly confident, because that was a mix of the word comfortable and confident, because yeah, Spirit are clearly the favourites going into this one blow.
Oh yeah, 100%, and they are very well aware of it as well, right? The only other team who could potentially compete against them in this entire tournament would have to be Gambit. And coming in, yeah, it's a good thing Magic said good luck to their opponents, because that's something flowskola are definitely going to need. You look at his players, you look at the names they have over there, some Dai Young, Mir. I mean, they're of a much higher caliber. They played against, and even if you look at the recent results, sure, they've lost against some pretty well-known names, but they had a couple of wins. They beat OG pretty recently in IEM Beijing as well. So they're a team who are coming in firmly as favorites, and I don't think there's any doubt about that.
I am curious though, Vu. Yes, Spirit tend to do well against CIS, and yes, they did beat OG recently, but actually when it comes to other European matchups, they do struggle. Is there a particular weakness or a reason as to why?
Well, you would say that they have a pretty unique style, and in the words of a professional poker player I know, a style is another word for weakness. So there's something you can get out of them. They're pretty aggressive. They've got kind of unique plays on Dust 2. They're very cat heavy. So you could see potentially if it does get to map 3, maybe flowskola has something figured out to try and counter that. flowskola very aggressive, could catch them off guard, but hard to say that they're going to actually pull out the victory. Maybe a map win, I think, would be, you know, a victory in spirit at least.
Well, I'm quite excited to talk about flowskola, so hopefully we are going to hear from one of their players right now. It's Chauzy, and he is just 15 years old, ladies and gentlemen.
It feels very good. When we signed up for the qualifier, we didn't expect to go this far, but yeah, we proved that by winning the final. So we don't expect to win everything, because there are some very good teams, and this is personally my first big tournament, I would say. So my expectations are to try to get to top 4, I think. I am 15 years old, Nilo is also 15, and Joel XD is 16, so we're the youngest players in our team. We know that we're playing against very experienced teams and players, so I try to see after these games what I can improve. I have a lot of time to get better. I want to try to show what I'm capable of in these tournaments and trying to get as far as possible. I don't think anyone in my team is expected to win versus Spirit, because they are very good and they're the highest ranked team. So for me personally, I will just try to learn as much as possible from this game.
All right, Vu, let's talk about how these boys play, because you have been watching them. They are a mixed team. They barely practice because 3 of them are at school. And to be honest, how do you even play against Spirit when you haven't really been able to put your heads together and discuss what to do?
I think the best case scenario for them is they come out swinging, they play aggressive, they play their own style, and they pray that Spirit's just not here on the day. Maybe iDisbalance is having an off day. He's known to occasionally not do quite up to his level, and they hope that they can just out-aim. Is it likely? Not that likely. It's not that likely.
All right, let's get your predictions then, Blair.
Well, yeah, well, you know, I like the Swedes, and I also love the logo, but I'd have to be absolutely just banged the head if I have to go with them. So I'm going to have to go with Spirit. I think they're going to take this one. It's going to be clean, easy, quick 2-0.
You love banging the head. All right, Vu.
It's a 2-0. It's if they played 3 BO3s, maybe Flow pick up 1 map.
I'm going to say it's going to be a 2-0 to the boys from Spirit. So I think we are nearly ready to get this one underway. We're going to go to a short break. Oh, no, we're not. We're not going to go to a short break because we did ask what you guys were saying in Twitch chat. It's just I already knew that you guys were going to say Spirit. 83%, though. There are clearly some flowskola fans who are skipping school to vote for their mates. So hopefully you guys have done your homework and your teachers have signed this off, because we're going to go to a short break. And when we come back, your school friends are going to be playing against Team Spirit.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. How are you doing? It's been a little while from Tom and myself, but we're back again at another DreamHack Open, and it's going to be an interesting game to start, Tom. One of these teams we know a bunch about, Spirit. They've been doing really well recently. The other is a massive unknown element, and I can't wait to get into this game.
One of them is a rainbow potato looking face. So I tried to convince production to edit your face into the center of their logo, but clearly that wasn't allowed. You know, I can't take control of everything. I guess that's the case. But yeah, this is going to be a learning curve. I have a feeling that it's not going to be a fairy tale ending, as the likelihood is Team Spirit are just going to batter them.
Yes, that definitely seems like the pretty unanimous feeling. I'm certainly on that board. Magix, though, will be locking it down with flowskola, successfully getting the bomb plant straight away. Not a single point of health has been lost in the process on either team. And now the young Swedes looking to try and repel the push. Spirit congregating together. Get the first in the form of Magix, who's now going to start to carve open the site. And Chopper and iDisbalance doing what they do best. That's taking off heads. It's a clean sweep of a retake. And that very well, Tom, could be a sign of things to come.
Oh no. Oh no. Like, firstly, I'm not sure I remember many times I've seen an easy bomb plant like that. That was almost like Team Spirit just going, I don't even want to fight this. I'll just wait for my guys to get here and we'll just take over things at the end. But yeah, that was so clean on the retake as well. And it's one of those weird ones, because obviously the thing we normally talk about with Team Spirit, we go, oh yeah, you know, Magix, he's so young. He's not even close to being the youngest in this server. We got 2 15-year-olds, a 16-year-old, and then it's him, the 17-year-old. Like, their average age over on the flowskola side is under 17 years old. So yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. They are going to invest into this one though. A force fire of sorts. They've got the Galils in play thanks to the bomb plant. They're already doing a better job than last time, as they have managed to get themselves a kill. And well, Chopper, he seemed lucky to be alive, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah, definitely. But so is Nilo. Not for much longer. Catches that grenade in the pocket. Mia has fallen prey to Chaucy's Galil. And the rest falls into place. Spirit repel the second consecutive round. This time the Swedes, though, are able to get a bomb plant.
Yeah, I feel a bit bad for flowskola going into this just because I feel like, especially in this tournament as well, if you're a young team, you want to come up against maybe more experienced players, like ones that have maybe not got the greatest aim in the world, but are still good team in other aspects. But Team Spirit are one of those teams where there's not a weak point. Like, I can talk about a lot of top teams that having maybe someone who's not necessarily the best fragger in the world, but has other aspects which make them a fantastic player. Spirit don't have that. They are literally 5 players who could pretty much fit into most other rosters in terms of firepower. So this, for me, Vince, at least, becomes an impossible match. I don't see any way they manage to win this.
Oh yeah, I think when people come into this seeing the opening game, you think it's the sort of plucky youngsters that have been together for a very short amount of time. You heard, I think it was Chorzi that was having a speak on the interview saying he wants to get top 4, and I thought, wow, I mean, I definitely appreciate, you know, the drive to be successful and the optimism, but let's be real here, they're the massive underdogs in this entire tournament, so really getting a map for me would be quite impressive. They could do it. There's not much information out there, right? So maybe they can catch Spirit off guard, but so far, that certainly hasn't been coming into play. And flowskola looking for just 1 kill in the 3rd round. It probably won't be forthcoming. Joel's been spotted. He's been tagged. Does get 1 on his return, but Spirit take the 3-0.
Well, this is the question I have for you, actually, Vince. Like, what's more optimistic, flowskola getting top 4 or Vu saying he's the best analyst in the world? Like, it really is it's a toss-up.
Oh no! 3 rounds in, Tom. 3 rounds. You gave him a 3-round head start.
Yeah. He'll get his chance to respond. You know, it's okay. As Frankie said earlier, Vu doesn't care what anybody thinks. It sounded much harsher when she said it. This is aggressive, though. I expect this sort of play from Team Spirit. They're not going to use any of their actual playbook. And when you've got someone like Disbalance at the back of the site who can pretty much just destroy any team, like even versus VP the other day, he went on an absolute tear. And they're a pretty, well, deep firepower roster themselves. Decent amount of control being taken here, though. But again, just look how fast the flank is. They're just running around the map.
Yeah, the lack of respect is pretty filthy. Misfire, though, making sure that Spirit do not overlook him. 3 kills already. So aggressive. Joined alongside Magi. He's only got 7 ADR to his name. Grenade flies in. Barely scrapes him. Hiding behind the alcove, bypasses most of the damage. Bomb is ticking away, though. 3rd on the fuse remaining, but comes out 2nd best in the trade. And Spirit with another successful retake.
Yeah, there's a part of me that wants to just look at the positives. Like, they're doing a very good job of actually getting into after-plant positions, but the other sort of side of the coin is that Spirit are playing an unorthodox style of Counter-Strike. We've now seen them in 1 round completely give up the site and just play retake from the get-go. We've seen another round now where they're just rushing down the ramp and had 1 player running all the way back round spawn. So they're definitely not playing their normal game. I think they know this is one they can have a little bit of fun with, and something as well that I think has to be taken into consideration is where we talk about like counter-stratting a lot in Counter-Strike. Oh dear. And they're not going to have done anything. They're just going to have walked into this game. I would have been surprised if they've watched even a minute of flowskola playing, so which obviously can work in the Swedes' favor, but realistically, they are very far out of their depth.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the last few games that flowskola have played, it's all Swedish teams. Probably the one team that stands out to me, and I haven't really seen much of them, is Galaxy Racer. That's it.
Yeah.
That's basically the only team you look at and you go, okay, I kind of know those guys. The rest of them are sort of tier 3, tier 4 Swedish teams. Meanwhile, Spirit, their last 5 games, yeah, they lost to VP, but they already discussed it on the desk. Mirage was really good. Against Na'Vi, they made both maps really close in that 2-0 loss. They beat OG. And then against Vitality, they got more than 10 rounds in those 2 maps that they lost. So even though they're getting beaten by top tier teams, and they're getting at least 10 rounds in the process. Like, these guys are no joke.
Well, a missed shot at least. It gives Joel XD a chance to maybe shine a little bit. The problem is he has got 4 players. And then actually, Disbalance is not even going to risk his AWP. Could have easily just taken the peak there, try to finish things off himself, but actually waited for the rotations, and they'll get off to a 5-0 start. And that was one of the things I sort of mentioned earlier about like this Team Spirit team not necessarily having weaknesses. Like, you look at teams that have been able to, well, I would say upset them And there are very few. Like, I would say that the only one that really comes up a few times is actually Nemiga. That we saw Nemiga play during the We Play RMR event. And they play so aggressive and wild that they catch teams off guard. Like, even another CIS team is going, oh damn, what are they doing? So that's the only one where I go, oh, maybe there's an upset chance. Obviously, Gambit have looked really good as of recent, so there's an opportunity for them. The other teams in this tournament, I'm not sure of. This round as well, it is another slaughter. Like, they're getting absolutely battered. Nice second shot, though, from Chauzy. He needs 3 more. It would take a miracle, but yeah, you never know, Vince.
There's always a chance, 9 HP, Deagle in hand, but these kind of situations, it would have to be Spirit making some missteps, and some die young. He's not interested. Grenade straight to the dome, 6-0, but flowskola, they will have a buy, and they go for double AWPs on the T side. Let's see if this works out for them.
Or triple AWP. Ah.
Nope.
Disappointed. Speaking of Nemiga, I saw them run a triple AWP the other day, a couple of days ago, on the CT side of Vertigo. They pushed mid with them. Just get ready for that team. Let's just put this. At the moment, they're currently playing with 2 stand-ins as well. So Lollipop, who someone I've enjoyed watching quite a bit over the last year, has done something to his hand. Like, it looked messed up in the picture. Like, it was a big cast. So I'm hoping that we'll see him back probably next year, and we can see Nemiga like try and grind things out again. But for this tournament, Forrester's going to be in there. Speedak, I think, is missing for their first day. So it won't be too much of a problem, you'd hope. They are a team that I expect to be in that top 4 bracket. I think them and probably, I guess, Apex, especially now that they've got Jacob in the team. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what he can do, because that was a surprise for me. Nice work from Joel, though. The AWPs have come up. They found a pick, and realistically, that's what they're going to work off of. And unfortunately for them, Chopper is giving me sort of flashbacks to the old Vega Squadron days where he had no fear and would just push mid and take loads of map control, and there was no way Joel was ever going to expect anybody to be there at this point in the round.
Chopper, though, not anticipating a second player to push him that quickly, gets punished, but information gathered. He saw the bomb down 30 seconds, stands to reason that B site would be in the target, in the crosshair of flowskola, so they're drawing over a second player. Meanwhile, Sundai Young going aggressive into ramp. Molly forces them off the balcony, and this should be a massacre. Mia sprays in, only gets the 1, but now you can see that Magix is holding his nerve. Molotov comes out, 10 seconds to play with, and even if Nilo picked up the kill, it would have been such a difficult ask to get onto the site and get the bomb plant. And Sundai Young is doing a great job, but Balance, he's only died twice, Tom. His ADR is off the charts. The guy is playing phenomenally well.
He's the big bully. That's what we're going to call him at this point. Yeah. It was something that was mentioned on the desk, that he can be a little bit up and down with his performances. I guess that's any AWPer in Counter-Strike. Like, I don't think there's an AWPer that springs to mind, except maybe someone like Simple or Zaiwu, where you're going, they're good every game, because it's not necessarily possible in the style you have to play as an AWPer. But when he's on, he can face off against anybody, like the best AWPers in the world. So the fact that he's having a bit of fun here, getting aggressive, we're seeing Chopper and him sort of style on their opponents. This is a big tournament for them, because you have to bear in mind, after this, they go straight into Masters. So they're going to want to win this. That's it. A loss here, and then the next day, starting their next event, that would be a pretty hard loss to sort of try and reset from.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think this tournament, many would argue, is theirs to lose alongside Gambit. They're definitely the 2 favorites.
Yeah.
Very CIS-focused event, perhaps. Meanwhile, flowskola have walked into the blockade again. They take down Sundai Young, but that will be the only casualty on Spirit as they briskly move to an 8-0. This has been incredibly quick. And flowskola, do they decide to tap out and call a tactical timeout here? No, they're going to keep going forward, although their money in an awkward position.
I don't know if you have the groups to hand while we have a little bit of a break in the match, but I'm interested, Vince. Like, who do you think's like coming out of each group? Like, I feel like Spirit and Gambit, you've mentioned those as the 2 obvious ones, but out of the other 6 teams, who do you think is getting into that sort of semi-final bracket?
Let me have a look at the groups here for a sec, Tom. I think you had a pretty fair assessment with Apex. I think Apex definitely could be a team that will turn some heads. I want to see how Jacob kind of fits in. Obviously, they're in Group A. So I would expect, out of Group A, that we'll probably see Spirit alongside Apex. In terms of Group B, I'm not sure, because obviously, as you said, Namiga have 2 stand-ins, and even when they sort of have the replacement come in after today, still going to be without Lollipop, right? Who I think is a pretty integral part of that team.
Yeah,
I'm really unsure as to where
player.
Namiga come down in this. Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah, the one thing I have learned about CIS rosters, which annoys me but also makes them quite exciting, is I think they're the one sort of region where if you just slot in another good player, it just works. Like I still remember, I think I was doing like a Hellcase Cup, and it was Hard Legion, and they played the whole tournament. Obviously, some questions there, but I'm gonna go ahead and say they probably weren't using the magical cat to win that one. But they got all the way to the final, beating like teams like Harvard and stuff. And they had 1 stand-in, then they had 2 stand-ins at one point, and then a different player switched out and they had another stand-in. And I was just sat there just like, well, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in a tournament. And they still went in and won every single match except the final. So the one thing I always find is because a lot of these teams play a lot more loose, maybe excluding some you think have put time and effort into the sort of the way that they set things up in the rounds. A lot of these other teams are much more loose, and Namiga's one of them. And Forrester, from what I've seen from him in Hard Legion, he was fantastic, a young talent. So I do think that there's still going to be opportunities for them to do damage. And
Illuminar, of course, the team that many of you would have asked, where has Snacks been? Well, it's been Illuminar. But we'll have to see if they can do anything. 3v3, 50 seconds to play with, and flowskola now making moves onto the site. One of the best opportunities they've had, but we've seen this before. Mia wrapping around the back, completely unaware of flowskola. They finally peek him, and maybe this is where the Swedes can get their first victory and taste its sweet embrace. Unless Magix can pull off the 1v3, it would be post-plant. Incendiary toss to the back of the triple box to force back the tease. Does make a little bit of room for himself. There's the first, but he will go down at the second hurdle, and the Swedes have now shown up. Let's see if they can build into more, though. So, with that being said, flowskola comes straight back in. Of course, they have taken a lot of casualties in the process, so their economy in no great shape. Meanwhile, plenty of funds for Spirit. Itis Balance kicks off the round again, as he has so many times with the AWP. 4th kill, though, has been delivered. First class from Magi's AK. Had a very slow start. Only 7 ADR a few rounds through the game. Sumdai Young now trying to buy up enough time for his teammates to get in close proximity. And another wrap around the back. We'll see Mia moving behind the tees one more time. They had a player up on ramp last time around to just quickly check him. And that 1v1 pretty much sealed the round up. Will they have any idea that he's pushed in one more time? He's so close, they can sense him. They can hear his M4A1S rattle out now from the backside of ramp. He doesn't have to re-peek. He can wait for his 2 teammates to get up close and personal, as they now have the player advantage. But if an off angle for Mistfire, it will at least get him 1. And that low player of Mia is still alive. This is clutchable from Mistfire. This is doable. He's already picked up 2, whips up the Tech 9, but stumbles, trips and falls. And Chopper with the kit will have enough time for the defuse. Spirit already with 10. Now, unfortunately, I believe that Tom has some connection issues, so I'm going to be guiding you through this one solo till he gets back. But as you can see, the scoreline really does paint the picture. This has been incredibly one-sided. flowskola, try as they may, they've had a bunch of valiant, heroic attempts, but no player over 5 frags.
I missed them getting around.
Yeah, you did, Tom. Welcome back.
Damn it.
I think Tom may have dropped again. You hate to see it. I'm going to say Maggie. I feel like it's Maggie, but it may very well be Maggie. Maybe one of the Swedish contingent of our production can let me know how you pronounce that in Swedish. Meanwhile, though, flowskola have another chance. And it seems that Tom is the curse. Whenever he's here, they lose. Whenever he is DC, they maybe win. So there you go, ladies and gents. Pay Tom off to leave. Maybe you'll get some more rounds. Spirit, though, aren't done just yet, but it will have to be a lack of utility that sees them on the retake. HE and a flashbang, they both take chunks of damage. They do hold their reserve for one, but there's not enough time. flowskola will be doubling up. Probably lose one of these two players to the bomb. Maybe Joel can just about survive. I think he will survive by the skin of his teeth. And so flowskola move up to 10-2. It's still a deficit. There's still funds on the side of Spirit to get a replenished buy. But at least they're ending the half strong. And hell, who knows? If they can finish with 5, maybe the fairy tale is still available. It's still open. So in come the Swedes. Again, they said it on the desk. You're probably expecting a lot of aggression to try and catch Spirit off guard. Keep them uncomfortable. Has been working pretty well on the A site. We've had a bunch of retakes, a bunch of 1v1, 2v2 with just a few milliseconds to spare. But good counter utility tossed in from Spirit. And this time flowskola are keeping a player in middle. That has been the key moment. You've seen Mia already wrap around the back 3 or 4 times. So posting up a player in mid does afford them the luxury of knowing they're not being fast rotated on, even though he fell down. 1-for-1 trade onto the site will still favor Spirit as they got one earlier onto the aforementioned mid player. And now Maggie tries to stand his ground, but it's Misfire that comes out swinging with 2 and also softens up a 3rd player that Joel can finish off in the form of Mia. And now Joel is trying to string 2 rounds together for the Swedes. He's against Idis Balance, who will not miss with his AWP. 19 kills already, with well over 100 ADR, 126 to be precise. So, as solid as flowskola have been on their aggression, it really has been a case of Idis Balance. And let's not also overshadow the rest of his teammates. He has 3 teammates alongside him with 12 kills and a bunch of assists between the lot of them, all pulling their weight. Mid control scarce again, and it's Chopper who will make the most of this. They have Joel who's firing out on B. This is more of interference play. Misfire is watching, anticipating this very push. So the Swedes really slowing it down now. flowskola, who have typically been super and hyper aggressive, waiting patiently, but the patience doesn't pay off. Chopper still nullifies Misfire. Joel's making so much noise and runs out with a knife. My dude, did you not realize your teammate just died in that very position? That is such a strange decision from me. And it's cost them dearly. Maybe assume that the weakened player had turned tail and ran back towards middle. It hasn't worked out for them, and now Nilo and Maggie have to try and withstand the pressure that Mia is applying, and they just go down. Spirit 12, flowskola 2, and this last round is going to be an incredibly rough purchase. They will, of course, just fully force up. It's no more opportunities. But that's the 2nd kill onto Joel. That is a very strange decision for me. And they clean up behind it. So, Mac 10, 4 Galils. Does afford them the luxury of 4 smokes and a couple of flashbangs. And when you have a weakened buy like this with a Mac 10, aggression is always going to be on the cards. Idis Balance hasn't had to deal with too many B pushes as of yet. Misses his first shot. Probably won't cost him because there's mollies and HEs behind it. Tons of damage just from utility now coming upon the Swedes. But they have got the upper hand in these trades. Idis Balance goes aggressive with the AWP, through the smoke, through the shadows, and puts Maggie down one more time for the last time in the half. But can Chorzi and Misfire get it done? Galil and M4 between the two of them. Mia straight in with the headshot. Pixel perfect, and now Chorzi's the last player to fall. Spirit will lead 13-2. Find out if we can have the craziest of comebacks after this small break.
Hello and welcome back to DreamHack Open November. An amazing half or so I've heard, because clearly everything went wrong on my end. Question for you, Vince. How does it feel knowing the average age of this flowskola team is half your actual age?
Feels great, Tom. Feels amazing. Incredible. About as incredible as that first half for the Swedes, but maybe they can pick it up here. They've lost the first player in the form of Misfire, who, let's be honest, was probably their shining star in that first half. Had a lot of big moments. And now, almost a carbon copy of how the first very round in this best of three kicked off. It was a flawless clean sweep retake though, and now Spirit are doing a good job of holding the line. Lots of damage inflicted on both teams. Chauzy steps up though, as does Nilo, putting bullets to faces, but now Magic shows his hand. And even though his teammate gets in his way somewhat, it's a really awkward encounter at the end, but it will go the way of Spirit, and that could very well be the map following suit.
Yeah, and unfortunately that sort of retake doesn't work as well versus Spirit. Of course, they're pretty well practiced at this point, and yeah, we've already seen it on an individual level. They're looking good. So a couple of rounds have gone the way of flowskola. Of course, I have not been here to witness any of them, so I almost think that maybe some of the Swedish fans will just be hoping that my internet cuts out a bit again so that they can win a couple more rounds. Of course, at this stage, the problem is we'll never get to see their CT side unless they win one of these 4-5 rounds, because they don't have anything. Okay, completely blind. And, wow, the flash giveth and the flash taketh away as he's caught with one in hand. And, yeah, things get back to normality a little bit.
Oh, nothing normal about that though, Tom. Missed fire. Straight up deagle demolition. May be called upon for some more. Still alive with full HP. Chauzy now making moves round the back. The bomb dropped down in middle, but plenty of time left. Even though Misfire's just pulled off 2 crazy headshots, 9 out of 10 times, this probably still goes the way of Spirit, if we're being honest.
Yeah, that's really hard to do as well. I feel like he made it look so easy just with the quick transition to the second head, but damn, that was slick. I rate it. And then you've told me that he was the man, at least in the first half, that managed to help them bring home a couple of rounds. He's going to have to try and do it once again. He connects a shot, but unfortunately, Some Die Young will live to fight another day and leaves it all onto Chauzy. The footsteps have been heard. The jump's not been made, which is going to only elongate this rotation, and without a kit. And, oh, man, that was just mean. Close him out before he can even start the retake. 15-2. It's going to be another force buy of almost exactly the same resolve. I know that, of course, Blair, in the meantime, has been preparing his stats helix for what round he's going to be breaking down of this intense match. I expect some in-depth analysis, Blair. You got to show Vu the ropes, although, you know, he is the #1 analyst in the world at the moment, so I'm sure that he's got this under control.
You're not going to let that go.
No, ever.
If you make a claim like that, to be fair, you have to put yourself in the firing line. So Blair has a point to prove, perhaps. Chopper and Mia have both taken a little bit of damage, but flowskola, their buy is so grim, it may not end up mattering. Chopper, bit of flirtation with the MAC-10, but is really drawing 3 players out and allowing the rest of the troops to make moves through connector. It's Magi with his deagle now that's trying to rip some heads and take a leaf out of Misfire's book, but instead, it's the machine starting to come into play, and it's well-oiled. Nilo's the only player putting a spanner in the works, but he goes down to Some Die Young and Misfire in a 1-on-4. If there was a player from flowskola who wanted this position, it is this man right now, but he will stumble, fall, and it's the 16-2 clean sweep.
Well, you know, to pull off miracle storylines, you do first have to fall and then come back the hero. So it is only the first map. Of course, from what we saw in the veto, this was actually the choice of flowskola. So it's not going to get any better from here. Of course, they do also like to play nuke, so maybe there's a slightly better storyline coming up in the next one. But yeah, it looks a bit bleak, doesn't it, Vince?
It looks about as bleak as we expected, Tom. We'll find out if they can pull map 2 out of the hat after this break.